Hello and welcome back to Tree of Statism. I'm Noah Gutman. Today I want to talk about a ongoing subject that's currently happening. Sometimes we're going to be talking about the news. We generally like to talk about ageless issues that are going to always be remembered. However, currently we want to talk about certain protests that are going right now in the US in universities. Now, university students in the past have always, college students also, have always protested. Very famously in the 60s, they protested during the Vietnam War. However, students there were very, very different than today. A lot of the students were just drugged out hippies. They were sitting around in drum circles. They were kind of directionless. The One of the most famous incidents is that when the National Guard arrived, they put flowers in the barrels of their guns. That didn't stop the guns. Today, students are protesting are a lot more organized. They have Kickstarters and other ways to collect donations in order to fund basic materials like tents and supplies, food and first aid and all of that. Things they're going to need for weeks and weeks or months and months of protests. They also have objectives. They know to target money and the image of whoever they want to affect change on. The current protests are a result of the 2024 war in Gaza that started when Hamas attacked Israel on the holy day of Simchat Torah and is now going on between Israel and the Gazan militant groups, mainly Hamas, but other military groups as well. The student protest has begun to try to boycott and divest from Israel and from companies that sell it weapons. They want to target material support for Israel to make it lose the war or to make it incapable of continuing the war. I don't speak for the college students, but I think their aims are that colleges will not invest in Israeli companies, colleges will not invest in companies selling arms to Israel, and that colleges will not cooperate with Israeli academia. I think that their strategy is very easily defined. First of all, you define a target, you define a company, and then you try to hit their sources of funding, and you try to hit their image. That is to say, you don't want money to be going towards this target, and you want the image of the target to be negative. In this way, other people and other companies will not want to be affiliated with it. You're not going to buy products from a racist company. You're not going to cooperate with a racist company. You don't want to be linked in any way to a racist company. In the same sense, I think they want uh, Israel to be a kind of equivalent of racism. Like, you don't buy from Israeli companies, you don't want to be associated with Israeli companies, as if Israel is a pariah. And of course, the final part of their tactic is that once you comply, they stop the attacks. That is to say, that a lot of companies don't really care, just they want the attacks to stop, and they will comply with small steps in order to get the attacks to stop. I personally think this protest will fail. I think it is unrelated to the legitimacy of the war. It is not about who do you think are the good guys, Israel or Palestine, and I disagree with Obama. I don't think history bends towards justice. I think it bends towards power. People, groups, states want to obtain power and will try to obtain it. Uh, in our specific case of the protests, they want economic power, they want money, and this will be the demise of the protests. In general, the university's interest is not to intervene. The colleges and universities don't care and don't want to intervene because they want, first of all, the protests to burn out. People get tired, people leave, people go home for the summer. or they want the protest to offer them simple, low-cost solutions. They don't want to do anything big and drastic. They want something small and simple. Even if students do immoral things in the rooms, in their tents, in the privacy that the university can deny knowing about, they prefer not to do anything about it because students pay tens of thousands of dollars a year, and students are, in a sense, customers of the universities, and the universities are, in a sense, a business that is trying to acquire money in order to do things. The first major issue that the protests are going to meet are Title IX. Now, for the people who are not Americans, Title IX was created because of, in the past, people tried to intimidate black people and minorities in order to keep them from going to universities, in order to make them drop out. Maybe the university says it's okay for you to be here, but if you're too scared of the people intimidating you, you can't actually enjoy the benefits of being a college student. Uh, Colleges can be sued over Title IX if they don't solve the situation or don't do certain things that can stop the intimidation. It's sometimes harder to prove, and in this case, the colleges could be sued because some people might mix anti-Zionism with as an intimidation method for Jews and Israelis, and say that anti-Zionism is actually anti-Semitism or anti-Israelism. Now, Jews are a religious minority in the United States, and people who are Israeli Americans are also an ethnic or a national minority, because if they came from a certain country, there's very few of them in comparison to this country. Now, some people would argue that anti-Zionism is neither of those things. They're not anti-Semitic or anti-Israeli. Does not fall under Title IX. Other people would say that's for a judge to decide, and it could go both ways. I think, my personal opinion, is that colleges would prefer to throw out some students rather than face legal challenges of this type. That is to say, it's simpler to remove students that are near the line or on the line, or it could go either way, than it is to face legal challenges and to be known as an anti Semitic university. If the protests are seen as anti Semitic, the university has to decide if it throws out students and loses customers, or it becomes known as anti Semitic and loses Jewish students, which are also customers. The next issue that the colleges will face is that in some states it is illegal to invest pension money in companies that boycott Israel. Now, the official logic is that managers are managing other people's money. This is some people's pension funds. This is some 70-year-old that worked his entire life and he is very dependent on this pension money. And you're not supposed to be trying to affect global change with it. You're trying to get a bigger bottom line. Otherwise, you're kind of a fraud. You're taking his money and investing it in other things other than what this 70-year-old wanted and gave you the money for. The backdoor logic, the things that are probably said behind the scenes are we pro-Israel? Are we anti-Israel? This logic probably drives a lot of politicians and a lot of the people who like the law or don't like the law. Although in reality, when it comes to pension funds, a lot of political issues should be kept away. You shouldn't be trying to affect trans rights or black people or minority rights or the Israel-Palestine war, because this isn't your money, this is some pensioner's money, and you should be trying to get him a better bottom line, not affect social justice. The issue for the colleges is that they don't want to meet this category. If they meet this category, their stocks could suddenly drop dramatically because all the investment companies have to sell their stocks. Now, if a bunch of investment companies sell their stocks, other people are going to speculatively sell the stocks because they don't want to be left holding something worthless. They will sell it as soon as possible to make sure that they're not left holding the bag when the university collapses or when the stocks hit rock bottom. And once stocks start dropping, businesses can fail. If they drop too much, the business can be over, the colleges can close down. The third issue that universities need to consider is that they are, in a sense, selling their good name. People want to be their students because the universities can open doors for them in their careers. Companies want to hire graduates from the university because the students are of a certain quality. However, if companies decide not to hire students from a certain university, the university has a damaged reputation. Students will not want to go to a university where they get blacklisted. In a certain sense, universities that are known as good attract better students and attract better companies because their students are good. But also, universities that are known as awful will attract low grade students and will drive away good students because who wants to be affiliated with a second class university, with a horrible university? Nobody wants to go to a university and get blacklisted by companies later. The issue this creates is that while universities can blacklist Boeing and Lockheed Martin and other defense companies and other military arms companies, the companies can blacklist them back. That means the companies can decide not to hire students from those universities, and that would negatively affect the tech and science departments in those universities. You could learn all the electrical engineering you want. The question is, will anyone hire you, or are you blacklisted for being part of a bad university? The next issue is that some universities have donations. The whims of the donors matter more than the students, and it is the interest of the college not to touch hot topic issues that will lose them donors. To conclude this video, I want to mention that we did not talk about the morality of the issue. We did not talk about the 7th of October. We did not talk about terrorism, colonialism, conquest, occupation, decolonialism, or any other super immoral subject. We did talk about a structure of power, in this case, economic power. The morality could at best convince people how to use the power they have, but in cases like this, when both sides are entirely sure in their morality and neither will change their opinion, this is less about morality and more about the structure of power. Hey guys, I'd like to wrap up this video by reminding you to please like, subscribe, and comment on my videos. All these things really help me out with the algorithm. If you have criticisms or think I can improve, comment. I'd like to get some feedback. And watch my other videos as well. If you like them as well, do the same over there. And if you really want to help me out, if you really want to take interest, you can always buy my book. It's on Amazon. And Kapistan by Noah Gutman.